There was a remarkable meeting in the White House today, and for once, people got to see firsthand what usually goes on behind closed doors. The president invited Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi into the Oval Office. The meeting was about funding for his border wall and his threats to shut down the government if he doesn't get it. But Trump took the unusual step of letting the media stay witness to what went on, and it was quite a scene.
We may not have an agreement today. We probably won't. But we have an agreement on other things that are really good. Nancy, would you like to say something?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to meet with you so that we can work together in a bipartisan way to meet the needs of the American people. I think the American people recognize that we must keep government open, that a shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have the White House,
did you say Trump
shutdown.
Oh.
You have the White House, you
it.
have the Senate, you have the House of Representatives, you have the votes. You should pass it
No,
right
we don't have
now.
the votes, Nancy, because in the Senate we need 60 votes.
No, but in the House,
and we don't
you
have.
could bring it up right now.
Yeah, but
today.
I can't, excuse me, but I can't get it passed in the House if it's not going to pass in the Senate. I don't want to waste time.
Well, the fact is, you can get it started that way.
The House we could get passed very easily,
Okay,
and we
then do
do.
it. Then
But
do
the
it.
problem is the Senate, because we need 10 Democrats to vote, and they won't
That's not the
vote.
point, Mr. President. The point is that there are equities to be weighed, and we're here to have a conversation in a
Correct.
prayerful way, so I don't think we should have a debate in front of the press on this. But the fact is, the House Republicans could bring up this bill, if they had the votes, immediately, and set the tone for what you want.
If we thought we were going to get it passed in the Senate, Nancy, we would do it immediately. We'd get it passed very easily in the House.
No, that's
We
not
would
the
get
point.
it, Nancy, I'd have it passed in 2 seconds. It doesn't matter, though, because we can't get it passed in the Senate because we need 10 Democrat votes.
Well,
That's the problem.
again, let us have our conversation, then we
That's
can
right.
meet with the press again. But the fact is that legislating, which is what we do.
Right.
You begin, you make your point, you state your case. That's what the House Republicans could do, if they had the votes. But there are no votes in the House, a majority of votes, for a wall, no matter where you start.
Exactly right. You don't have
If I needed the votes for the wall in the House, I would have them in one session,
Well, then
would
go
be
do
done.
it. Go do it.
It doesn't help because we need 10 Democrats in
No,
the
don't
Senate.
put it on the Senate, put it on the negotiation.
Okay, let me ask you this, and we're doing this in a very friendly manner. It doesn't help for me to take a vote in the House where I will win easily with the Republicans.
not win.
It doesn't help to take that vote because I'm not going to get the vote
Don't put
of
it
the
on
Senate. I need
Mr.
10
President.
senators. That's
Mr.
the problem.
President, you have the White House, you have the Senate.
I have the
you
White House. The White
of
House is done,
Representatives.
and the House would give me the vote if I wanted it. But I can't because
you
I need,
can't-
Nancy, I
you
need 10
can't.
votes from Chuck.
No,
All right, let me
Mr.
say
President,
something here.
Let me just say one thing. The fact is, you do not have the votes in the House.
Nancy, I do. And we need
Well, let's
border
take the
security.
vote, we'll
Nancy,
find out.
Nancy, we need border security. It's very simple.
Of course we do.
We need border security.
do.
People are pouring into our country, including terrorists. We have terrorists. We caught 10 terrorists over the last very short period of time. 10. These are very serious people. Our border agents, all of our law enforcement has been incredible what they've done. But we caught 10 terrorists. These are people that were looking to do harm. We need the wall. We need, more important than anything, we need border security, of which the wall is just a piece. But it's important. Chuck, did you want to say
Yeah,
something?
here's what I want to say. We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall,
Washington
whether
Post.
it's effective or whatever. Not on border security, but on the wall. We do not want to shut down the government. You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government, and that's what we're urging you to do. Not threaten to shut down the government,
you don't
because
wanna
let me
shut
just
down the
finish,
government, Chuck.
because you can't get
The
your
last
way.
time you shut it down, you
Yeah,
got
let me
killed.
say something, Mr. President. You just say, my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take
And
it.
if it's not good border security, I
It
won't
is
take it.
very good border
And if it's not
security.
good border
That's what the
security,
border
I won't
security
take it.
asked for.
It's what the
Because when you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing
You
with our
just said it is
military-
effective.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, you just said it's
Without
effective.
a wall, these are only Areas where you have the walls.
We wanna do
Where
this-
you have walls, Chuck, it's effective. Where you don't have
Wait a
walls,
second.
it
Let's
is not
call a halt
effective.
to this.
Yeah.
Let's call a halt to this. We've come in here as the first branch of government, Article 1, the legislative branch. We're coming in good faith to negotiate with you about how we can keep the government
Open.
We're going to keep it open if we have border security. If we don't have border security, Chuck,
I'm with you.
we're not going to keep it
I'm
open.
with you. We are going to have border security.
And it's the same border, you're bragging about what has been done.
By us.
We want to do the same thing we did last year, this year. That's our proposal. If it's good then, it's good now, and it won't shut down the government.
Chuck, we can build a
But that's
much
it.
bigger
Let's-
section
let's
with
debate-
more money.
let's debate in
We have
private,
taken this
okay?
conversation
Yeah,
to a
let's
place
debate in private.
That is devoid, frankly, of fact, and we can.
We need
dispel
border
that.
security. I think we all agree that we need border security.
Yes,
Is that
we
right?
do.
Good.
We do.
See, we get along. Thank you, everybody.
So if that's how they're setting the tone for the next session of Congress, there is a rocky road ahead. As you just saw, the meeting quickly turned into a shouting match. The CBC's Ellen Morrow is in Washington with more on that very heated exchange.
This was just meant to be a brief, what's called a pool spray, where you do kind of get the niceties before the actual meeting happens. But as you said, this devolved extremely quickly with Donald Trump sparring with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. And it got, a little heated at times, too. You had Nancy Pelosi telling Donald Trump not to underestimate her, essentially. Trump interrupting Nancy Pelosi. You also had Chuck Schumer sort of needling President Trump over some recent election outcomes for the Republicans. So it was really heated. It did get personal. And the issue here, of course, is Donald Trump's border wall with Mexico. And we've been here before. There was a government shutdown earlier this year in January that revolved around this issue of border security, of the border wall. This is something that's always there in the background whenever these issues of government funding come up. But the big thing about what we saw this morning is that it gives you a preview of just how difficult it's going to be come this January when the Democrats are in control of the House, because once that happens, the government will be divided. So it's difficult now to get anything done, but then when you have Democrats in control of one of the houses of Congress, it's just going to get more difficult. But here's another piece of what happened in the meeting this morning, Andrew.
We shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute, and you want to shut it down. You keep talking about
The
it.
last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened
20
it up very
times.
quickly. And
20
I don't
times.
want to do what you did.
20 times you
Chuck.
have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wall.
And so that gives you another hint, Andrew, of what happened this morning. Mike Pence in the room as well. He did not say anything during this whole exchange, which was a bit awkward there. After that moment, Nancy Pelosi said things were spiraling downward. And at one point, President Trump even said after that part, see, we all get along. So not really an accurate statement there based on what we saw.
Yeah, and it was also interesting, I think, to see Nancy Pelosi afterwards outside of the White House saying, look, I didn't want to call out the president's figures, his numbers, and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But then, that's kind of what she was suggesting. So what exactly is at issue here?
Well, we do talk about this quite frequently. It's the issue of government funding. Government funding will run out by the end of next week. So this is all about passing a spending bill to keep the government funded for the next little while before this issue comes back to the fore again. Now, Republicans in the House of Representatives, again, they are still in control of the House. They want $5 billion for President Trump's border wall, and that's not something that the Democrats are on side with. And to get it passed in the Senate, you do need some Democratic support. So that's what it all comes down to, this issue of the border wall. What exactly is border security? Can there be some kind of fudge where there's funding for border security but not necessarily a wall? And these are all unanswered questions. They've been unanswered questions for a long time. What we usually see is kind of a kick the can approach, and this issue comes up again. It's likely to be what we'll see again this time around, judging by how far both sides are, as we saw in that appearance